Person one loves person two. Guess what? Shenanigans ensue. Person one hates person two. Guess what? Still shenanigans ensue. Person one fake dates person two. Guess what? You guessed it. Shenanigans ensue. Co-host one reports to co-host two. The name of the show? Shenanigans ensue. Yeah. Hello, I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Jane, and welcome to Shenanigans Ensue.
A podcast where, check please.
It's an open bar.
Is it?
Each episode we'll watch a rom-com and discuss its merits as a member of the rom-com genre.
We'll cover well-worn classics, hidden gems, and everything in between.
We'll give you our unsolicited opinion on every trope, caper, and flim-flam the film used, or maybe abused.
And of course, the shenanigans. We've been waiting to do this one for a hot minute.
Since it came out.
Yeah.
The way I have been avoiding watching Netflix, because every time it will start playing a clip.
I know that you have figured me out, algorithm. I'm telling you, I have a plan for this film.
Yes. I'm not very good at restraint when it comes to watching things that I want to watch, but
oh gosh,
just leave me be.
And of course, that is the brand new second Lindsay Lohan comeback.
Yes.
Irish Wish.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
What can one say?
Right off the bat, this film begins with an insane narrator intro.
That came out of nowhere and never comes back again.
No, at the end of the day, we figure out who has introed for us, but it's like some psychotic children's film. I don't understand.
It was so out of pocket.
Yeah.
And tonally didn't match with anything that was happening at all.
It really does not.
And so I messaged Jazz and I was like, even if this is just going to be a hot mess, it's going to be a fun one.
Oh, yeah.
But it definitely went up from there.
For me, I was like, oh no, this is so bad. But they went all the way in. And so I was like, it has to be amazing when you start with a weird intro like that.
What a way to open the movie.
So hype. And then we get the tightest intro ever, too, which I cannot wait to talk about. Within the first 5 minutes, they've managed to explain everything.
Everything. And then we just get right into the meat of it. This is an hour 30. We love a tight hour 30.
Mm-hmm.
What a romp. What a caper.
Worth every second. I don't know how to have any more opening thoughts without immediately starting things, so I think we might as well just jump right into the plot synopsis.
Let's just dive right in.
St. Bridgid already has me completely kerfuffled.
What a woman. What a fairy. What a mystical being with undetermined magical powers.
Undetermined. Okay, so editor Maddie has feelings for one of her writers, Paul.
But after Paul's whirlwind romance with one of her best friends, Maddie ends up in Ireland for their wedding.
Naturally, she makes a wish that she were the one marrying Paul instead, and St. Bridgid is thrilled to oblige.
But be careful what you wish for, because fate seems to have plans for Maddie and photographer James instead.
Shenanigans ensue!
We leaned into it a little bit with the plot synopsis, but this movie just owns what it is. And it's like, yes, of course you're an island, and of course she's going to make a wish on an Irish wishing stone, and of course St. Bridgid is going to pop up and make the wish come true.
Literally.
This is the movie you're in.
Yeah.
Get on board or get off.
We didn't have to mention St. Bridgid right off the bat, but I love her. I want to be her. I'm looking up her actual sainthood information just to get an idea of this woman. They played it up big.
Of course they did.
Because this was apparently just a very humble lady. Her miracles were, I'm feeding the hungry and healing some people.
So more important than messing with love lives of random American women.
Yeah, they say, quote, unlike St. Patrick, most of her miracles were humble affairs for people of low rank. So she's really just in it for the regular person, but I don't understand where they got the tricksy aspect.
She's a trickster.
Interesting. Okay, there's a few more things. Apparently, when Bridgid was of marrying age, some dude was trying to woo her and she had already been like, nah, I'm with God. And so she was like, if you go behind my house in the woods, though, you'll find someone beautiful.
Oh.
So maybe...
Okay, yeah, maybe that.
Yeah.
She redirects people to what's actually good for them.
Yeah, she redirects people in love.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. We figured it out.
Awesome.
Love that for her. She's a matchmaker.
She's a queen. She's just redirecting you. She's not telling you what to do.
But she is serving full bitch.
Yes. And she's fully meddling. Like, let's not get it twisted.
She's meddling more than I've ever seen anyone meddle, I think.
Cross-continental meddling.
She's more intense than the holiday calendar.
Not the holiday calendar.
I wanted more of that calendar. I got enough Bridgid.
Oh, that messy bitch.
What I think is super fun about this is the parallel universe thing. Maddie has decided to make her wish, and everything comes true the way she wants it. Then, slowly but surely over the course of the film, she's realizing this isn't what she actually wants. And what's interesting, too, is instead of giving her the memories of all of the things that led her towards Paul, she ends up just having to sit there and pick up the pieces. Mm-hmm. Again, messy.
And so much fun, because it also takes her so long to work out the fact that her wish came true.
Literally.
Like, she is not getting it until she literally sees a picture on the mantelpiece of her and Paul that used to be of Emma and Paul, and she sees the ring on her finger. Then it clicks, but it just goes on for so long, and it's so funny to watch.
The fact that instead of letting her progressively get quicker to the uptake, they just kind of keep reminding you that she doesn't remember that she shouldn't remember. And Lindsay Lohan continues to deliver absolute befuddlement.
Yes, and she does it so well.
Every time she says, oh, right, you wouldn't know, or, oh, yes, that didn't happen. I believe it.
Every time.
I want more. This film, in a lot of ways, it doesn't make any sense.
No, but they own it.
I know.
And that's what I appreciate about it. They're just committing to the bit.
Yeah.
This is what we want to have in the movie. This is how we want the plot to be. And so this is how it is.
Yeah. And I don't need you to give me a reason why. I just need you to believe it.
And I do. I believe it.
And I do.
I buy in.
I genuinely do. I thought it felt a lot like a Hallmark movie in its absolute insane cheesiness, but it doesn't have a lot of the weird problematic things you often find in a Hallmark movie where people are squashing parts of themselves or other weird things that they do in order to fit their lives around some new love interest all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I think this movie does the opposite of that while honoring the spirit of the Hallmark movie.
Which is the camp and the cheese.
Yeah.
It also has a much better budget than a Hallmark movie does.
Really gorgeous shots. And also, we're on location, so that's a good budget.
Yes, and the costume design is also giving.
Her looks serve every day.
Mm-hmm.
They really know how to work a color palette.
Bloody hell.
She's been doing this for a while. She knows exactly what to do.
She knows what she looks good in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of the locations, was that the same town from Leap Year?
That freaking bench.
Is that not the same little town square? I saw the statue in the middle of it and I was like, is that the Leap Year town? I really don't know.
I've never been to Ireland, so I couldn't speak to if a lot of the towns look similar or not.
Right, I couldn't either.
But, I mean...
But it looks a lot like it.
Yeah.
Also, why is Paul independently wealthy and his family owns a castle? Why is Paul, period?
Yeah.
And And also just, like, very well done. Like, I don't like Paul.
No.
But I do like Paul and Emma together.
Yes. They did that very well. The way they handled that, which we'll get into with the tropes, which we should probably hit those tropes.
Okay.
Okay.
Narration?
I just put it there because, like...
I mean, there is.
It was too notable to not comment on.
I will say, if we wanted to say that the narration also carries through in the telepathy that she then does, I think it still counts. St. Bridgid, you absolute psycho. I love you. Okay, we have multiple meet cutes. They're so good. The parallel universe meet cutes.
So cute.
We've got love triangles, messy love lives. We've got best friends. We have weather doing the most.
Mm-hmm.
We have putting your arms around someone to teach them something, which... The way I was laughing so hard because I know that Jane loves it so much.
Because it's so unnecessary. That's why I love it so much. Because it's so dumb.
I think it makes me feel too awkward. You're in my personal space. We have reading something someone loves.
Mm-hmm.
And we have mothers doing the most from all angles.
Multiple angles.
I also would like to pitch
Mm-hmm.
that this wasn't a soundtrack doing the most, but it was certainly sound effects doing the most.
100%.
Whoever was sitting on the keyboard doing background incidental music to the film was having the time of their lives. So good.
It was really very much in your face.
Right? Okay.
Pling, pling, pling. Pling, pling, pling.
Correct.
Get out of here.
And like, da-da-da-da-da-da, when she's having something bad happen. Oh, she's being clumsy again.
So funny.
Oh my God, get out of here.
Crying with laughter right now. You know, I think one of the reasons why I enjoyed this film so much is that there are a lot of Jane favorites in terms of the tropes in here. And so I don't know where to start. I think I have to start with where they're doing the most because...
I think it's your favorite.
It's definitely up there because of how ridiculous it is. James does make mention of how erratic the weather on Ireland is, but he and Maddie have just gone on this drive and are like looking out on the beautiful vista and it's so gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. The cliffs.
Yes, stunning. Next scene, all of a sudden, oh no, it's a storm. Oh no, there's a gigantic tree in the road. Oh no, we need to turn around and go to like a cute little pub and spend the night.
We have to stay here the evening. We can't go anywhere.
We have to have this really romantic evening together.
Because the weather is also under Bridget's spell.
Yes, so ridiculous.
And then they got to do the classic. Again, I've not actually ever been there, but I keep hearing if you don't like the weather in Ireland, just wait 5 minutes.
Yes.
I gotta imagine it's true.
Must be. But man, that was a dramatic change.
Seriously, beautiful blue skies.
Yes.
Into immediately a strong enough storm to knock down a gigantic branch.
Knock down a massive tree.
That's a hurricane.
Or a very, very, very long, sustained storm.
Or a very rotten tree, in which case I think that the municipality needs to be on top of trimmings.
Not the municipality. The hottest of takes.
I don't know where their taxpayer dollars are going, but it's not to tree trimmings. I would really like to talk about the multiple meet cutes.
So adorable. So adorable.
The choreography on that second one, by the way.
Oh.
Okay, so the first one, when we are in the airport, poor Maddie is waiting for her luggage and thinks she sees it and reaches for the same luggage as James, and then they fight over it. You could just look at the tag.
One could.
And he even acknowledges, just look at the tag. And she's like, no, I think I know what my luggage looks like.
Also, it's a generic black wheelie bag. It's not even distinctive in any way, shape, or form.
That's why my luggage looks like a Lisa Frank zebra. So I don't ever get confused at the airport.
That's why I have a gigantic giraffe-faced tag on my luggage.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot miss it.
Because it's easier that way. Because they just like fight over the stupid bag.
They have a full-on tussle.
And then also, what flimsy-ass bag is this that it pops open?
And Maddie, with all the confidence in the world, is like, haha, my favorite plaid skirt.
It's his undies.
And then James is fully on the phone, I think, and he's just like, hold on, there's an American woman trying to steal my bag.
I love and respect it. As an American, please make fun of us as much as possible.
The fact that he put an American, not just saying there's a woman,
No.
that was intentional shade.
Well, that's because she had to open her big mouth. If you weren't so loud and aggressive about it, he wouldn't have said anything. And that's what we deserve. And then after, she's filed a missing report for her bag. And for some unknown reason, James has been milling about the airport that whole time too, because then they get on the same bus.
Did he get lost? I don't know. Was he catching up with friends at the airport?
I don't know. Was he taking pictures of planes flying? I don't know what he was doing.
No, he's a nature photographer.
Of a cloud?
Pigeons? Anyway, they end up in the same bus because shenanigans.
Yeah.
Plot shenanigans. And Maddie has a copy of Paul's book that falls out, and James picks it up and he makes some disparaging remark, and Maddie's like, oh, I actually really like it, and he's like great writer for our century or generation or whatever. And he's like, oh no, don't tell me you're friends with him. And then the bus driver is like, next stop, Kennedy Estate.
Ah, that Kennedy. Yep. I put my foot all the way up my mouth. And then the second mute cute is even better somehow.
Stunning. Ooh.
So in the alternate universe, she didn't actually lose her bag, and so she hasn't met James yet. And she's trying on the family heirloom wedding dress, which is just hideous.
Fugly.
So much shoulder pad.
Such an unflattering neckline on her as well.
And like, I get it. It could look really good on, I don't know, the right kind of statuesque woman, but no.
It's just rough.
And so she's trying on this family heirloom dress that she doesn't even want to wear, runs out of the dress shop because she's seen Bridgid. She's like, hey, you, what's this voiceover in my head? And so she runs out to try to catch her and tell her off. She like runs into the street without looking. Dumb.
In her wedding dress.
In that dress, and falls headfirst into the passenger seat of James's car, which then somersaults her over so that she lands butt first into his lap. Perfect.
Yes.
And he's so charmed by it. The only thing I'm sad about with the ending is that they went back to the universe where that's not the actual meet cute. Delightful all around.
I guess since we've set it up, I need to talk about the putting your arms around someone to teach them something.
Another Jane favorite.
Because it's so dumb. Where in reality is this ever happening in the way that it's orchestrated?
Oh, yeah.
In rom-coms especially. So they've had the weather doing the most, and they've ended up in this pub, and James is teaching Maddie how to throw darts as a way to avoid talking about himself.
Yeah.
She's struggling. The dart doesn't even stick.
She doesn't even hit the board the first time. She hits the wall.
And he does ask for non-verbal consent, which I do appreciate. Always a nice opportunity to like get them a little bit closer than they would ordinarily. And it's all just very sweet.
I also just love they share that intimate moment.
That look.
And then the bartender kind of pokes around and is like, oh.
I forgot about that. He comes to bring the drinks and he's like, oh, ha, ha, ha.
And then I would argue that they do a second putting your arms around someone to teach them something. When they then dance, he has to lead aggressively because she's a terrible dancer.
Allegedly.
Are you kidding? We saw it. Not allegedly. He had to manhandle her to turn the right way. And it was hilarious and charming.
She just needed the right partner. She needed practice.
She needed an aggressive hand. That's what she needed. He had to grab her basically and turn her forcibly the right direction, but she laughs because he's helping.
They had fun together. Such sustained eye contact from the pair of them. The looks. Just the looks. The gazes.
Okay, Ed Spelliers. Is that what? I don't know what his name is.
I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, to be honest. I'm sorry, Ed.
Sorry, Ed. Ed is serving some smolder. There was a point where the camera angle, he did the really over dramatic, I'm looking down, I'm looking up into the camera dramatically as if I'm looking into my scene partner's face. And it was just too dumb. And I laughed. I wasn't supposed to laugh, but also correct tone. Perfect.
Yes.
Please work that camera angle.
And this is what I'm saying again about the importance of chemistry between the leads in a rom-com especially. Can you imagine if the two of them didn't have chemistry? This would feel so awkward and cringy.
Oh, yeah.
Their chemistry is so good.
As exemplified by the love triangle, Messy Love Lives, because her chemistry with Paul is non-existent.
It's really bad. In the best way.
Yeah. You can see the clarity.
Absolutely. I love the way that despite Maddie wishing to be the one marrying Paul, she physically doesn't gravitate towards him.
Yeah.
And they demonstrate it really well. Like, when she comes down for breakfast, she doesn't immediately go sit right next to him. She leaves like an empty chair between the two of them. And he's like, darling.
She, like, can't get it through her head.
No.
Like, you got what you wanted.
Yeah.
And I mean, good. Like, this was already a really terrible idea.
Yes.
Because this is a professional relationship. Don't conflate the two in the
Yeah.
first place. So I loved the continuation of the lack of physical intimacy.
It was so good. And when he climbs into bed with her and she immediately freaks out and beats him up a bit.
She, like, gives him a black eye.
Yes. It's not registering for her at all.
Nope.
That they are together. It's really good. Whereas she and James almost instantly are quite comfortable. And not in a even romantic or sexual way.
They're just comfortable.
Yeah, just like how they wrap their arms around each other when they're running out of the rain or whatever.
Hiding underneath his coat.
Yeah, so cute. And again with the messy love life, with Emma being in love with Paul, I like how they did it in the alternative reality.
Yeah, they don't ever cross any lines. It's just like an unfortunate what could have been.
Yeah.
This longing, unfulfilled.
Which is very true to life in some ways.
Yeah.
There are some people that you love and you just can't be with, and that's how it works out.
And that's okay. And it doesn't have to cross any lines.
No. And so that also meant that the moment where Maddie basically coaxes Emma into confessing is really sweet and moving.
Yeah. They really do have such a beautiful girlfriends moment. The understanding, the love between the two of them, like the ways that you can turn to your friend and have complete understanding. She didn't have to be upset about it, that it could just be a thing that was happening, that she acknowledged her part in messing all of this up for her friend because she wished for this alternate timeline.
Yeah, it was very sweet.
It's the conversation they should have had at the beginning of the film when they're introing all of the characters.
So true.
And I loved that.
If Maddie had just been honest with her friends right off the bat with her feelings for Paul.
I was thinking that at the beginning of the film. Why are you not just telling your friends? Like, why are you not being forthcoming about what's going on in your head?
Yeah, she's not using her voice.
Yeah, which is a theme of this film. Even if you don't want to tell Paul, you gotta tell your friends.
Yeah, but very good in terms of character building.
Yeah.
Bless.
Oh, we should definitely touch on the mothers doing the most.
So, Rosemary, who is Maddie's mother, is played by Jane Seymour. And I just want to give her a bit of a shout out because I recognized her and I went to go look up her IMDb. Girl has been booked and busy.
Slay!
She's done a couple episodes in How I Met Your Mother and Jane the Virgin. She's played a mum in like multiple movies and she's been busy. So, well done.
Love that. And she's so funny.
Hilarious. If you think about the fact that she doesn't have a consistent scene partner throughout the movie and she's doing like a bunch of bit scenes all over the place.
She doesn't have a scene partner at all.
That's work to be able to do that. You're basically playing with yourself.
Oh my God, I didn't even realize that. She doesn't have a scene with Lindsay Lohan ever. She's only on the phone.
Which just shows how good the two of them are at talking to themselves.
Literally, The way that I kept saying, Lindsay Lohan has to be the queen of, like, talking to myself in the mirror.
She's so good.
She starts crying at the end trying to undo her wish on the wishing stone.
I was moved.
And she's just like, come on, please, some wind. And I was like, how are you doing this? How am I crying? You're talking to yourself.
On the one hand, I'm like hyper aware of the fact that she is all alone by herself, and at the same time so moved. Like, how does she do it? It's so good.
Magic.
She made a wish. See, Bridgid.
She made that wish before she did the Parent Trap.
Yeah.
And then it never left.
She didn't want to undo this wish.
No, that was a good one. But she did get rid of that twin. Just kidding. And then the other mother, Paul's mother, is insane. She's everything you could possibly imagine of well-to-do white estate mom. She's all of the cliches.
But somehow you don't hate the character.
No,
it's kind of like,
she's just being her.
I don't want you to be my mother-in-law,
No.
but like at the same time, I understand you.
Yeah,
You know?
You're living your very different life, and you know what? Slay. I can see why the family heirloom dress is extremely important to you. Respect.
Yeah. Seemingly has a very loving relationship with her husband still, especially for that type of class.
Yeah.
Work, girl.
Do you want to mosey on into the
Let's do those shenanigans. Shenanigans! Because, my word.
I think we should start at the beginning with the tight 5-minute intro for every single character, basically.
With the slow zoom.
I can't.
And musical cue. And like turn towards the camera. I can't get out of here.
So we learn very quickly that Maddie is at the book premiere. Paul is running a little late. Maddie gets there. She loses her scarf. She walks inside. She finds her friend. She talks to her mom on the phone about being in love with Paul. They have a little conversation at the bar. Oh no, we thought that he was in love with her too. Just kidding. We get all of that. And it's only like 5 minutes. How?
The exposition is so efficient.
A Lindsay Lohan Netflix rom-com has to have this tight exposition. I think that that's the thing now.
And I'm grateful for it because it's like, let's get into the fun of it.
Literally. The only thing that upset me was the scarf thing because of the fact that I knew that there was a dancer in the 20s that had a scarf and then died because it got caught in a car, and that freaked me out. But it was funny in this case because it was like, oh no, look at me be clumsy. Let's intro the clumsiness. Just not around her neck. Stress.
A mini shenanigan that I find so funny because it's just a sight gag is how massive Paul's author photo is. It takes up the entire back of the hardcover book.
Which is exactly right.
So funny.
The ego on this guy.
Yes, because it's setting up how we later find out that Maddie has essentially written this book.
Yeah.
But isn't taking any credit for it. She just keeps saying she's the editor. It just is so apropos of the character of Paul that his author photo, it is obnoxiously big.
That's so ridiculous. I mean, the way that they build that character's personality up so quickly with the giant author's photo, with the way that he's so moody and dramatic with his reading, he's relishing every moment. So funny. Oh.
Talk about chewing the scenery with that one, with like the New York skyline in the background.
Get out.
At dusk.
Get out.
And again, in terms of efficiency, we're setting this up quickly. Emma is so excited that Paul signs her book. Mm-hmm. And Maddie's like, well, he's a celebrity, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, no, but he gave me his phone number as part of signing the book. And Maddie's like, oh, it's just a phone number. It's not a proposal. Cut to, the calendar's rolling. A plane is flying. We're at their wedding.
Also, I love the fact the calendar did roll, but only 3 months. They're getting married. It's been 3 months.
It was a choice.
They could have rolled it a whole calendar year. They're like 1, 2, 3, airplane.
Exactly.
Tight. Her happiness getting her passport stamped. I can't.
What's the shenanigan you want to hit?
Oh, I just want to jump straight to the magical wishing stone chair under a cherry blossom tree.
And St. Bridgid being a jump scare.
Yeah. She is a jump scare. For 1 second, this was a horror movie. I love it. Their third friend in the friend group has a bit of a crush on Paul's brother. So Paul and Emma get on a little rowboat. The other two get on a little rowboat. And there's Maddie being the extra wheel again. And so she's
on the dock.
Yeah. She's like, okay, have fun. I'm going to go take a walk. No, I want to take a walk. And she goes. And then she finds the stupid little stone chair and she makes her little wish. And Bridgid, as Jane says, jump scares. And so Bridget's like, that's not how you make a wish.
You have to do it properly on the stone. And you have to mean it.
I love that so much. She makes her go sit on the chair. And Lindsay Lohan's character's like, I don't want to. I don't
believe in that stuff.
She's like, well, then what do you have to lose?
So what could it hurt?
She makes her sit on this stupid chair. And then when nothing happens, because, like, she's just saying words.
Just expecting a wind, some lightning.
A thunderclap, something like that.
Something dramatic.
Fun fact, the prayers of St. Bridgid, one of her, quote, miracles, is that they were said to still the wind and rain.
Oh.
So, literally, that's not supposed to happen for Bridgid.
But, you know, she's happy to oblige. So she's like, oh, you want some wind? Okay, I can see if I can rustle up something for you.
And then she does it. Suddenly she's gone. Like, you open your eyes and no one's there anymore. You just finished editing a man's book about a sneaky fairy who grabs people and pulls them into the bogs. And you didn't freak out right then and there. I'm not buying that.
And then the random telepathy that Bridgid has as well. What is this?
It's narration, Jane.
That's not narration, that's communication.
It's mind narration.
That's what you wanted. Aren't you happy with your wish?
But I love that they say that's what you wanted, and she clocks that Bridgid is in the window. Camera pans to Bridgid, and she says the second half, and her mouth doesn't move, so it's full telepathy now.
That actor had to go into a booth after shooting. That's how much in telepathy we are.
The cheeky way that when they do the rehearsal in the morning after the storm, Maddie realizes that the stained glass looks exactly like the woman who granted the wish. And then the stained glass winks at her.
Again, what are Bridget's powers? They are undefined.
They are undefined. They are all over the place. She doesn't even know what she's capable of.
And she can quickly teleport to the States to trip Maddie's mother, who's at the airport, and to, like, mess with the alarm clock.
Well, obviously, she's working on the space-time continuums and she's adjusting the timeline.
She's literally traveling through space and time.
She's the doctor. Actually, I want that now. This is canon in my head now. She's Doctor Who.
I was just thinking that.
This is just a version of Doctor Who. I love Bridgid so much.
And her outfits are also stunning. No notes.
I like her more than I think every single other character except for Lindsay Lohan's. Do you have any more? What's that?
I have so many more shenanigans.
Literally.
I'm struggling to think of where to go to because I have so many teeny tiny ones as well. Like when James comes up to the house, James finally meets Paul because he's been contracted to be the photographer for the wedding. And he says to Paul, oh, I've read some of your work. And ego on this man, Paul just immediately assumes, oh, it's always nice to meet a fan. And James is like, yes, I'm sure it is.
Cheeky.
Cheeky bugger.
One of my favorite shenanigans trying to establish that James is a better match for Maddie and that she's evolving a little bit is that in the pub, she tries to order a wine because she, quote, doesn't really care for beer, which somebody says is a punishable offense in that country. Get your shit together. And so she ends up having a little bit of beer. And then the next day when they're having the rehearsal breakfast, every person is drinking bubbly. Yeah. And she somehow has gotten a draft Guinness.
How?
Where's the draft Guinness come from, Maddie? Where'd it come from? It's got a perfect pour on it, Maddie. Why would you drink Guinness and everyone's having Prosecco? And, like, what does he ask? I think Paul says something like, oh, since when do you like Guinness? And she's like, oh, I'm developing a taste for it. And I liked the idea of pigeonholing that in, but I just thought that the setting was so incorrect. But that's why it works. It's dumb.
Yeah. And it's so obvious. That's the thing. It stands out just in terms of, like, the color, the shape, and size of the glasses. It's very funny.
The fact that Paul's mom has immaculately curated a perfect table setting and that she's fucked it up with this pint glass.
Oh, while we are here in this scene, we have to talk about that drinking game that they forced the couple to play. Oh my goodness.
Oh no.
Oh, so stressful.
So awkward.
The worst possible situation Maddie could be in, where it's like, how well do you know your partner?
Not at all, because I just made a wish and I'm here now.
Yes. Playing catch up in real time. And clearly he doesn't know her either, because the day before she's told James that her favorite author is James Joyce. As an audience member, you get so hopeful when Paul is like, oh, I know my fiance, she likes the classics. Nope.
Oh, wrong one. The fact that she has to muddle her way through the conversation
about the proposal.
Yeah, the brother's being cheeky. And it's like, this is an easy one for you, Maddie. How did he propose? Long story short, he didn't. She proposed.
On his birthday.
They're just messing with her.
Yeah.
Oh. And she's like, it was a special place. No, it was a random-ass pub in Brooklyn.
And it comes about her saying, oh, what needs to happen for, like, you to take me to see Ireland?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, for us to be getting married, I guess. Which, first of all, why can't you take your girlfriend to Ireland? You clearly are extremely wealthy.
Yeah.
Why does it have to be you guys are getting married?
Because he's working and that's his editor. I also have decided that my headcanon is that this happened this year in real life, so 2024, and she proposed on February 29th.
That was my headcanon too.
Okay, good.
Get out of my brain.
Yes,
headcanon. Totally my headcanon.
She did propose on the leap year because that's when women propose in the tradition, and then they went over.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. We cover it all in our leap year episode. No, I'm telling the listeners. I'm plugging our leap year episode.
Something that I thought that was really interesting was the subtext of the lesson they're trying to teach people, which is something that I feel people need to learn, hopefully in their 20s, but I do know a lot of people who still haven't learned the damn lesson. So hear it, please, folks. You cannot twist yourself up to fit someone else's ideal of what their partner should be.
Yeah.
And so I love and appreciate that this corny, insane romp decided to add this very important detail and drive it home at the end as well.
It's a very beautiful lesson, like her finding her own voice.
Yeah. And I think it's very easy to assume that the reason why your best friend ends up with this guy you had a crush on instead of you has some sort of fault to do in yourself, and not the fact that they're both active and they wanted to ride bikes together and have the same sense of humor, and she's carrying in a way that compliments him and makes space for his ego.
Yeah.
And like all these millions of ways that there is a lid for every pot, but maybe you're not the right fit. And so people take that very personally instead of realizing that these things aren't cut and dry.
And it's probably a good thing because
Correct.
She clearly would have been miserable with Paul. They're not suited.
They're not. She doesn't get along with his family even.
Yeah.
None of this is good.
Yeah, and she's like built up this idea of him and how things would be if they were together. And even when they are together, she's not happy.
Right.
I also, in the same vein, about somehow having very moving messages in this balls to the walls crazy movie
Mm-hmm.
is that in the alt timeline when Maddie chases after James and they kiss and she says, "Please don't leave, I can't be happy without you." And he's like, "Yes, you can," and leaves. It really is driving home the point of her finding her own voice. I really thought we were going to get, them getting married on the cliffs.
Yeah.
But it's more about her deciding to write a novel about the cliffs and he goes along with her.
Yeah.
I like that that's how the movie ended.
I agree. I think that her turning Paul down to be the editor anymore is the right tone.
Yes.
I love the fact that when they're at the dance floor for the wedding, when they go back to the correct timeline, the other friend in the trio sees Paul's brother hitting it off with someone else, and instead of doing the thing that Maddie did, which was spin herself out over something that's not her fault,
and try so hard.
she just says, "Well, he doesn't like me," moving on, turns around, and a gorgeous man is ordering a drink at the bar and wants to dance with her. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's the correct stance to take because you'll lose years of your life. Like, it's not based in reality. You don't actually have a relationship with somebody. And even if you did, how do you know it wouldn't have been really bad because this is someone who's better suited for someone else in the first place?
Exactly.
So I'm really happy that they had that conversation. I really hope people get that as the takeaway.
Lovely. Okay, one last shenanigan I have, and then we can move on. Because just watch the movie. It's a romp.
It's so silly.
The movie is a shenanigan in and of itself. But I feel like we have to cover the chaotic fight.
Oh,
I love a bad fight.
Yes.
This is not skillful at all.
No.
It's just so crazy.
It's so messy. Also, it was so unwarranted.
It was stupid.
How dare you get mad at them having an intimate conversation where nothing happened and you clearly have a crush on your fiance's best friend?
Yeah.
The absolute balls on this guy to feel entitled to saying what he said.
His ego was bruised. That's why. In front of everyone.
I don't care.
No, I'm not defending him.
No, I know. In real life or not.
Mm-hmm.
This is why rich people need to get humbled more.
He couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle it.
No.
But it led to some fabulous fight choreography, which must have been so challenging to learn because it just looks like a hot mess. But they had to learn all of them.
It's so funny.
It's so inelegant.
And then the fact that Emma shows up at the end to come up to him with love in her heart and eyes and, "Are you okay, Paul?" He's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "How dare you call me irrelevant?"
Yes.
And then storms off. Amazing.
I was very happy that she had that moment.
Absolutely. I love that this alternate timeline ruined their relationship too. Like, everyone got screwed up because of this weird wish and Bridgid being a bitch.
Bridgid was just so freaking happy that someone came and made a wish at that wishing stone.
Seriously.
She was giddy. She's like, "I've been sitting out here for so long."
Because it's on the Kennedy estate. I don't think people are allowed to go to the wishing stone, and they don't ever go sit on it and make wishes because they're rich. And lastly, before we move on, I really want to quickly mention that they did let's have a montage of everything that just happened in this film that
That's
we
what I
all
wanted to
remember,
do.
except it's backwards.
I was just checking my notes. We need to discuss the reversal playback montage.
Another Lindsay Lohan rom-com classic.
It's so unnecessary. It's so funny. Like the full-on reversal.
With the reversal noise.
And there were some shots that were really satisfying to see in reversal. Like we get the fight, the flip in the car, but we didn't need it. We've just seen this movie. Like, we'll get it. We'll understand.
We literally just watched it. And on top of that, what makes me laugh so hard is like... Do you know how outdated the rewinding of VHS sound is? Zoomers don't know.
There are people who are full-grown adults now who have never heard that sound.
They don't even know what that sound is.
Yeah, they've never heard that sound.
Why bother putting that sound in anymore? It's antiquated.
It's for that nostalgia.
But it's a nostalgia that's dating me.
It tickled me so much. Get out of here.
This is like ancient knowledge. Just leave it in the past.
It's on a different level to the unnecessary soft focus montage because I feel it requires more work.
To find all of these key moments and put them in rewind? Can't. Well,
So funny.
that brings us to
Fun
Fab
fail. This was tough for me.
I know it was tough for you.
Yeah.
For me, this was a super strong fun. The writing is way too bad. And the chaos is too campy to be a fab, per se, in my brain. But it is so fun.
It's so fun.
It epitomizes my feelings of, it isn't good.
No.
But it's great.
Exactly. The way I was beaming
Yeah.
the whole time watching this movie. Like, it's everything that I want in a rom-com, you know?
Yeah.
There's the cheesiness, the camp, moments of sincerity. It's just pretty to look at as well. Everyone is on the same page. I'm struggling because I went back to my rankings and I think I need to withdraw fabs from certain movies.
Right?
Because I definitely enjoyed this movie a lot more than some of the fabs I've previously given out.
No, then give this a fab.
No, but at the same time, there's some funs that I've enjoyed more than this movie. So it's like living in that in-between for me.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe one day we'll do a revisionist thing on our choices.
Revisionist history.
Yes.
We'll do a rewind on our old episodes.
I hear what you're saying about like it's strong fun. Like we do have little subcategories in it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm talking in circles at the moment. It's somewhere in the in-between.
Yeah.
It's a fun time.
No, I agree. I think that a big part, too, for me of why it is a super strong fun and not a fab is that I cannot recommend this movie to the average movie person.
No, that's true. And I was thinking about that as well. But is that the criteria?
Right.
For a rom-com to be a fab, that it must be recommendable to people who don't necessarily enjoy the genre?
I'm trying to think back to some of the other ones. I feel like that's been the case for me, at least, a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
That it's just a good movie on its own as well.
Okay.
But that might not be totally true. I'd have to go back and look at everything.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I do think that this is the kind of film where you have to be a rom-com lover to enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Because it is campy, it's corny.
Yeah.
And it's not like the same kind of camp that, say, The Wedding Singer does, which is a bit more broad comedy that is palatable to a lot more people.
Yes, this is definitely very niche.
Yeah. And you have to like the tropes of the genre, and you have to acknowledge and appreciate how dumb the tropes of the genre are to get a kick out of this film.
Yeah. And again, we haven't discussed so seriously how we're doing the criteria.
Yeah. It's guts.
Yeah.
We're feeling it.
Exactly. I don't think for a movie to be a fab, it necessarily has to be a good movie just independent of the genre, kind of.
No, not necessarily.
Yeah. But super fun watch if you love the genre, and I'm assuming you do if you're listening to this podcast.
Hopefully. Oh my goodness. I feel like I'm second guessing my cheese.
Oh,
okay,
no.
give me the cheese,
Give
please.
me the cheese, please. You went last time.
I guess I did.
So...
Yeah.
Oh, we need to do a countdown. I got so excited about knowing where we are for one.
I know, it's like saying cheese. Okay.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Cheez-Its.
Calzone. Ah! I know you've been holding out on giving this.
Yeah.
So that's a high award.
I know, I actually picked something else and I've changed it at the last minute on Guts.
Oh,
After talking it out, I'm like,
yeah. So I picked a calzone or a calzone.
Should I go first? I thought we just...
Right. We did. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. I got so excited.
No, it's okay.
I
was
so
like, I thought we
excited
just...
for knowing where we are.
I know, I'm
It's
so
like,
excited too.
Oh, no. You go first. My bad.
Okay, so I've at the last minute changed to Cheez-Its, so I don't have anything written down. I'm gonna give this completely off the cuff, which is that Cheez-Its are one of my favorite things, even though I know it's really bad for me. The problem is that I cannot sit with a box of Cheez-Its and not eat the whole box at one time, which is like how I devoured the cheesiness of this film. And then I'm gonna call it like a full meal. Like I'm gonna call this a fantastic fantastic full rom-com, even though I know it's not like, I know it's not great, but it is delicious.
It makes you happy.
It does make me happy. It makes me feel full inside, and I'm a little disgusted with myself after it, but in the best ways. Maybe there's some sort of aspect of it that I could add in some smokiness or something. Like, I don't know what I'm pairing this with so that I could get in some of the smolders and the looks that these two were serving to the camera.
Some beef jerky.
Right. It's the Slim Jims and Cheez-Its.
A guilty pleasure meal if there ever was one.
Yeah, because neither of them is good for you, but they're good for your soul. And therefore, this film is a Cheez-It.
For off the cuff, you sure stuck the landing.
Oh, thank you. Just, you gotta have to fake it till you make it.
Yeah. So I picked a calzone or a calzone, and what goodness wrapped up in more goodness.
Oh, that's such a good one.
Which is just, when you eat it, there's not an elegant way to be eating this at all. It's a hot mess. Like, literally a hot mess. And then you're still dipping it into the marinara, which just adds to the deliciousness, but also adds to the mess. It's so comforting and warm and yummy, but unlike pizza, which is a lot more accessible to most people, this movie is a lot more niche, as we've been discussing, and I feel like a calzone is not as readily reached for outside of Italy, perhaps, as pizza is. So it's very specific.
It's the inverse, because they're traveling and it's not a traveling food like pizza.
No. It's a sit in one place, make a mess, and be full and happy and messy afterwards.
It's Bridgid. She sat in that one place and then made a mess.
And it's really easy to burn your tongue when you're eating this dish. You could get burned so easily by a movie like this if it's not done properly.
Yeah.
I regret nothing.
It's like when the regret was settling in.
That's true.
Lindsay Lohan's character regretted the wish.
Yes, you're right. Yes. She burnt her tongue. She was too hasty.
And the regret sets in. She was too hasty. And she just wished there was a little bit of wind to blow on it.
Oh my gosh, yes. The levels.
I'm dead. Yep. Perfect.
Well,
there you have it. That was our discussion of Irish Wish.
Let us know your thoughts on the movie, any shenanigans we may have missed, or what cheese you think it is.
You can follow us on Instagram at shenanigansensuepod, or you can email us at shenanigansensuepod@gmail.com.
We hope you'll join us next time, and until then, everyone has something to say. You just have to be brave enough to say it. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Irish Wish. Say that 3 times fast.
Ugh. Irish Wish.
Okay, fine. I can't even say it 1 time. Irish Wish. It's the sound of wind. Yeah.
Maybe it was intentional.